The day she walked into my building, I almost dropped my phone into a cup of office coffee that tasted like it had been invented as a punishment. Not because she looked different. Madison Hart always knew how to look like she belonged somewhere expensive. It was because she looked at the sign in the lobby, our company name in clean metal letters, like the universe had personally pranked her. And then she saw me. I didn't wave. I didn't smile. I just stood there by the elevator bank with my badge clipped to my belt, holding a folder like I was supposed to, wearing the kind of calm you learn after life punches you in the face and you finally stop trying to argue with it. She blinked once, twice, like her brain was buffering. Gloria at the front desk leaned toward her. "Can I help you, ma'am?" Madison cleared her throat. "Yeah, I'm here for an interview." Gloria looked down at her screen. "Name? Madison Hart." Gloria's fingers clicked. "Third floor. Conference room C. Mr. Cole will be with you." Madison's eyes snapped back to me. "Mr. Cole." Gloria smiled like this was any other Tuesday. "He runs a tight schedule, but he's fair." I pressed the elevator button. The doors opened, and the little ding sounded like a punchline. Madison's voice came out smaller than she probably meant it to. "Ethan, you work here?" "Yeah," I said. "Come on. You don't want to be late." Here's the part where I should tell you. This wasn't some movie moment where karma arrives in a fancy suit, music swells, and everyone claps. Real life doesn't do soundtracks. Real life does fluorescent lights, awkward eye contact, and a weird urge to check if you have spinach in your teeth while your past is standing 10 feet away. And I'm going to be straight with you. Back then, when she left me, I thought that was the worst day of my life. It wasn't. It was just the opening act. Let me walk you there, because if you're thinking, how does your ex end up sitting across from you in an interview? Trust me, I asked the same thing, silently, while the elevator climbed. And no, I didn't know how serious it was going to get. 2 years earlier, I lived in a one-bedroom apartment outside Charlotte, North Carolina, with a couch that had a permanent dent for my body and a kitchen table that wobbled like it had unresolved issues. Madison didn't live there. She stayed there. There's a difference. I worked in logistics back then, entry-level operations at a shipping company. Nothing glamorous. My day was spreadsheets, shipment delays, customers who acted like their pallets of paper towels were a national emergency, and managers who thought urgent was a personality type. I come home tired but proud. Not proud like I'm on top of the world. Proud like I didn't quit today and I paid rent again. Madison would be on the couch, scrolling on her phone, TV on, volume low like background noise for her disappointment. One night, I walked in with grocery bags cutting into my fingers. She didn't look up. "Did you get the almond milk?" "Yeah," I said, setting the bags down. "And eggs." "And not that brand," she said, still not looking up. "Istir de hair. It's almond milk. It's not a sports team." She sighed like I was the exhausting one. "Ethan, can you just do one thing right without turning it into a joke?" I laughed, but came out dry. "I'm sorry. I'll do better for the almond community." She finally looked up, and her eyes did that thing where they didn't exactly land on me. They landed on the idea of me, the version she'd been hoping I'd become faster. "Stop," she said. "I'm serious." "I know," I said. "I'm listening." She put her phone down like she was about to deliver a speech. "I can't keep doing this." I opened the fridge and started putting things away, because if I stood still, I might say something that would turn into a fight. "Doing what?" "This," she said, waving around the apartment like it personally offended her. "This small life. This waiting." I turned around slowly. "We talked about this." "No," she snapped. "You talked about it. You keep saying, just wait, it'll get better. How long am I supposed to wait?" "Madison," I said, "I'm working all the time. You know that. And what do we have to show for it?" She shot back. "A Gardena couch and off-brand almond milk." I leaned on the counter. "It's not off-brand. It's never mind. What do you want from me?" "I want a life," she said. "I want a place that doesn't smell like old carpet. I want to go out without checking my bank app like it's a horror movie." I nodded. "Okay, and I'm trying. I am saving. I'm building." She cut me off. "You're surviving. That's not building." My jaw clenched. "So what's your plan?" "Because you're not exactly clocking in anywhere." Her eyes narrowed. "Wow, so now you're going to throw that at me." "I'm not throwing anything," I said. "I'm asking." She stood up. I shouldn't have to work. That's not what I signed up for. I blinked. What did you sign up for? Because I don't remember handing out contracts. She pointed at me. I signed up for a man who was going somewhere. I'm going somewhere, I said, voice rising. It just takes time. She grabbed her phone. Time is what I'm sick of. I took a breath. Maddie, please. I'm not asking you to love a struggle forever. I'm asking you to let me finish what I started. She looked at me for a long second, and I could see it. The decision was already made. She didn't want a partner. She wanted a result. I can't, she said. I'm done. Done with what? I asked, though I already knew. She smiled, and it wasn't kind. Done waiting for you to become enough. That sentence hit like a door slamming. Not loud, just final. I stood there in my cheap apartment, surrounded by groceries and silence, and I wanted to argue. I wanted to beg. I wanted to say something dramatic. Instead, I just said, "Where are you going?" She picked up her purse. "Somewhere I don't have to live like this." That was the first conflict, the crack in the glass. And here's what I'll tell you, right to your face, like you're sitting across from me. I thought that was the worst she could do. I had no idea what else she was capable of when she decided I wasn't useful anymore. A week later, I got the full picture. I was leaving work, late again, when my coworker Raphael walked with me to the parking lot. He squinted at my face. "You look like you slept in your car." "Give it time," I said. "I might." Raphael chuckled, then got serious. "You okay? You've been quiet." I unlocked my beat-up sedan. "Madison and I broke up." Raphael whistled. "Man, Sully, what happened?" I shrugged. "I didn't level up fast enough." He leaned against the car next to mine. "That's messed up." "It's reality," I said. Raphael tilted his head. "You want the ugly truth or the comforting one?" "Hit me," I said. "The ugly truth is some people don't love people," he said. "They love outcomes." I stared at him, then laughed once. "That's actually accurate." Raphael nodded toward my phone. "You heard anything from her?" "No," I said. "And honestly, that's probably—" My phone buzzed, like it was listening. A text from Madison. "You can pick up your stuff tomorrow. I'll leave it by the door." I stared at it. Raphael peeked. "Oof." I texted back. "My stuff? You mean the stuff in my apartment?" Her reply came fast. "Don't make this hard. Just come tomorrow." I felt my stomach drop. "She's at my place." Raphael raised his eyebrows. "She moved out." "I don't know," I said, already turning my key. "I'm going." When I got there, her car was in the lot. Not packed. Not leaving. Just there like she still owned the air. I walked up the stairs, heart thumping, and opened the door. Madison was inside, sitting on the couch, legs crossed, like she was waiting for a delivery. On the other side of the room stood a guy I'd never seen before. Tall, clean haircut, expensive shoes, looking around like my apartment was a weird museum. Madison smiled. "Oh, you're early." I stared at the guy. "Who is that?" The guy held up his hands. "Hey, man, I'm just—" Madison cut in. "This is Brent." Brent gave a little nod. "Nice to meet you." I laughed because my brain didn't know what else to do. "Nice to meet me?" "In my apartment." Madison's smile tightened. "Relax. We're leaving." I looked at her. "So, you're done waiting for me, and now you're showing me your upgrade in my living room?" She rolled her eyes. "Ethan, you always make things bigger than they are." Brent shifted like he wanted to disappear into the drywall. I pointed toward the door. "Get out." Madison stood up, slow, like she was the grown-up in the room. "I came to get my things." "Your things?" I repeated. "Madison, half the stuff in here I bought." She lifted her chin. "And half the money was wasted while you played poor." That one stung because it was so unnecessary, like stepping on someone's fingers while they're already hanging. Brent cleared his throat. "Look, I don't want any trouble." "No trouble," I said, staring at Madison. "Just leave." She walked past me and grabbed a couple bags from the corner. "You can keep the couch. It suits you." I watched her try to find words that wouldn't make me sound like I was drowning. "So this is it? You're just gone." She paused at the door, hand on the knob, and looked back. "Brent has plans." Brent doesn't live like he's always hoping for a miracle. Brent gave a nervous smile like he was sorry and proud at the same time. Madison opened the door. "I hope you figure it out, Ethan." Then she left. And for a while, I did what a lot of guys do when something like that happens. I tried to pretend I was fine. I went to work. I answered emails. I nodded in meetings. I laughed at jokes I didn't hear. I bought groceries I didn't feel like eating. At night, I'd sit in my car in the parking lot for a minute before going upstairs because walking into that apartment felt like walking into a room where someone had stolen the oxygen. My friend might call me the third week after it happened. Mike was the kind of friend who didn't say, "How are you?" like he cared about politeness. He said it like he was ready to drag you out of your own head if needed. "You eating?" he asked. "Yeah," I lied. "Don't lie," he said. "What's going on?" I stared at the steering wheel. "She's gone. That's what's going on." Mike blew out a breath. "You still thinking about her?" "I'm trying not to," I said. "Okay," he said. "Here's what you do. Is this going to involve motivational quotes?" I asked. "It's going to involve you getting your life back," he said. "You're going to stop working like a man on a treadmill and start working like a man with a map." I snorted. That's surprisingly wise for a guy who once microwaved a fork. Mike ignored that. "You like logistics, right? You're good at it." "Sure," I said. "I'm good at being yelled at about shipping delays." "You're good at solving problems," he said. "So solve your own. Apply somewhere better. Not someday. This week." I hesitated. "I don't know." Mike's voice sharpened. "Ethan, she didn't leave because you were lazy. She left because she didn't want to build anything with you. So build anyway." I didn't answer right away. Mike softened. "Come over tomorrow. We'll do it together. Resume. Applications. All of it." "Fine," I said. "But if you bring energy drinks and start calling it a grind set, I'm leaving." He laughed. "Deal." The next day, I sat at Mike's kitchen table with a laptop and a headache, while he hovered over my shoulder like an overly aggressive life coach. "You're underselling yourself," he said, pointing at my resume. "You wrote, 'assisted with scheduling.' You didn't assist. You ran it." "I don't want to sound arrogant," I said. Mike raised an eyebrow. "Arrogant is saying you're the best. Confident is saying you're not invisible." I typed, "Phoenix." We applied to 5 places that day, then 10 the next week. I started interviewing. I started hearing the same question over and over. "Why are you looking to move?" At first I wanted to say, "Because my ex thought I was a joke," but I didn't. I said, "I'm looking for a place where growth is real and performance matters." And eventually, someone called back who mattered. Blue Ridge Analytics, mid-sized company, real career ladder, real leadership. They were expanding operations and needed someone who could handle chaos without falling apart. During the final interview, the hiring manager, Tanya, leaned back in her chair and studied me. "You're calm," she said. I shrugged. "I've had practice." She smiled. "Tell me about a time you had to fix a mess you didn't create." I almost laughed because my whole life felt like that question, but I answered with work examples. Real ones. Shipments, miscommunications, deadlines. Tanya nodded. "You're steady. We need steady." A week later, I got the offer. And here's where life does that thing where it doesn't announce the turning point. It just quietly hands you a different road. I took the job. I moved into a better place, still modest, but clean, no wobbling table, no dented couch. I started showing up early and leaving on time sometimes. I started lifting weights again, not because I was trying to prove something, but because my body had been carrying stress like a backpack full of bricks. I went from coordinator to team lead, then to operations supervisor. Promotions didn't fall into my lap. I earned them the boring way. Consistency, results, staying sharp. And then, 2 years after Madison walked out of my apartment like she was stepping out of a bad investment, she stepped into my lobby. The elevator opened on the 3rd floor. We walked out into the hallway with those glass-walled conference rooms where everyone can see you pretending not to see them. Madison's heels clicked on the floor. That sound used to mean date night. Now it sounded like incoming problem. She tried to speak like we were old friends. "So, you Mr. Cole now." I looked at her. "It's just Ethan." She gave a short laugh. "Right, Ethan. Wow." We stopped outside conference room C. I opened the door. Inside, the table was clean, chairs tucked in, water pitcher in the center. Corporate calm. Neutral territory. Perfect for uncomfortable surprises. Madison stepped in first and sat down like she owned the seat. I closed the door behind us and sat across from her, folder in front of me. She looked around. "Nice place." "It works," I said. She leaned forward, voice softer. "I didn't know you worked here." "You applied," I said. "You didn't read the email?" She blinked. I mean, I didn't expect. Yeah, I said. Life's full of those. Madison's lips pressed together. So you're interviewing me. That's how the schedule landed, I said. HR assigned it. She let out a breath and smiled like she was trying to charm her way out of reality. Okay, professional. I opened the folder. Professional. Let's do it. She straightened up. I'm ready. Tell me about your work experience, I said. Madison's smile froze. Work experience? Yes, I said. Jobs, roles, tasks, anything. She blinked again, slower this time. I haven't really had a traditional job. I nodded and wrote something down. Okay, any volunteer work? Internships? Anything with a schedule and responsibilities? She shifted in her chair. I was managing my life. I looked up. That's not a position I can reference. Madison's cheeks colored. Ethan, come on. I am, I said. This is the question. She exhaled sharply. Fina, I haven't worked, but I learned fast. Maybe, I said. What skills do you have that match this role? Madison's voice went defensive. I'm organized. I'm good with people. Give me an example, I said. She hesitated. I handled a lot of planning. For what? I asked. She waved a hand. Trips. Social stuff. Life. I kept my tone neutral. Do you know Excel? I mean, she said, I've used spreadsheets. For what? I asked. She stared at me like I was being rude on purpose. Budgeting. Okay, I said. Customer support? Phones? Email queues? Ticketing systems? Madison's posture tightened. No. I flipped a page. Any certifications? No. Education? I asked. She sat up a little straighter. I took some classes. I didn't finish, but okay, I said. So we're starting from zero experience. Madison's eyes flashed. You're making it sound worse than it is. I'm describing it, I said. Worse is a feeling. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Her fingers tapped the table once, twice. I looked at her. Why this company? Madison's voice softened again, like she realized charm might still work. I need stability. I need a fresh start. I nodded. Okay, why now? Her eyes darted away for half a second. Things changed. What changed? I asked, still professional, still calm. She stared at me, and for a moment the confident mask slipped. Brent isn't in the picture anymore. I didn't react much, but I heard it. I heard the quiet crash behind the sentence. Madison rushed to fill the silence. It's not relevant. I just need to work. It is relevant, I said, because it explains the timing. Her voice sharpened. Are you enjoying this? I leaned back slightly. Enjoying what? This, she said, gesturing between us. Sitting there like you're above me. I'm sitting here because it's my job, I said. And right now, my job is to figure out where you fit. Madison scoffed. I fit in a lot of places. Not without experience, I said. Not in a role with responsibility. Her eyes narrowed. So what are you saying? I tapped the folder gently. Based on what you've told me, the only thing I can offer is an entry-level support position. Front desk support. Data entry. Basic tasks. Training included. Madison blinked, then laughed, but it sounded forced. Front desk. Yes, I said. It's the lowest position in the department, but it's a start. Her face tightened like she'd tasted something sour. You're offering me the lowest job in the building. I'm offering you the only job you qualify for, I said. And I'm only doing that because we need someone there and you're motivated right now. Madison's voice rose. Motivated right now? Are you kidding me? I kept my tone even. Madison, you walked in here with no work history. I can't put you into management because you used to plan dinner reservations. Her jaw clenched. You're doing this on purpose. I looked at her. No, I'm doing this according to reality. She leaned forward, eyes hard. You could help me. I'm helping, I said. This is help. A starting point. Madison's laugh turned sharp. No, this is humiliation. It's a paycheck, I said. It's learning. It's showing up every day. She shook her head like I was unbelievable. You really changed. I nodded once. Yeah, I did. Her voice softened again, and it was almost familiar. Almost the old Madison who could make anything sound like my fault. Ethan, don't you remember how hard it was back then? We were struggling. I was scared. I stared at her for a second. You weren't scared. You were impatient. Madison flinched. That's not fair. I held her gaze. Back then, I asked you to wait. I asked you to build with me. You said no. She swallowed, then tried again. I made a mistake. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I just nodded slowly. Yeah. The room went quiet. Madison's eyes flicked down to the folder, then back to me. So that's it. That's it, I said. Entry-level support. If you want it, HR will send you the details. Start date, pay, schedule. Madison's nostrils flared. Pay, she repeated like it was an insult. I didn't give a number because this wasn't about flexing. It's the standard rate for the role. Her voice got tight. That's not enough to live. It's enough to start, I said. And once you have a track record, you can move up. Madison stared at me like she couldn't believe I was saying the words out loud. You're really going to sit there and act like I'm some beginner? I lifted a hand slightly, palm down, calming. You are a beginner. That's not a moral judgment. That's just where you are. Madison pushed her chair back. The legs scraped the floor. So you're just going to watch me struggle, she said. I exhaled once. Madison, you didn't watch. You left. She froze for a second. Her eyes got shiny, but she blinked it away fast, like tears were embarrassing, and she didn't want to give me the satisfaction of seeing anything real. You think you're so steady now, she said, voice shaking with anger more than anything else. You think you're better. I don't think I'm better, I said. I think I'm responsible for my choices. That's all. Madison's lips pressed into a thin line. I can't believe this. I nodded. That makes two of us. She grabbed her purse. You know what? Keep your little job. I stayed seated. That's your decision. She took a step toward the door, then turned back like she wanted the last word to sting. You used to beg me to stay, she said. I looked at her calm. I used to beg for a lot of things that weren't good for me. Her face tightened. Whatever. She yanked the door open. And yes, she slammed it. Not a cute little dramatic close. A full slam. The kind that makes nearby people look up from their screens like, do we have a situation? The second the door shut, I sat there for a beat, staring at the spot where she'd been, listening to the hum of the building. Then I stood up, walked out, and found Tanya in the hallway near HR. Tanya raised an eyebrow. That sounded energetic. I gave her a half smile. She's not taking the offer. Tanya glanced at my folder. No surprise. I kept my voice low. She came in expecting something higher. Tanya nodded like she'd seen this 1,000 times. Some people want a ladder without the first rung. Yeah, I said. That's a good way to put it. Tanya watched me for a second. You okay? I shrugged. I'm fine. She didn't push. All right, I'll mark it as declined. As I walked back toward my office, Raphael, yes, the same Raphael, because he'd ended up here too after our old company went sideways, stepped out of the break room holding a granola bar. He took one look at me. That was your ex, wasn't it? I stopped. You heard that door. Raphael pointed at the ceiling. The whole floor heard that door. I sighed. Yeah. Raphael chewed, then said, how'd it go? I stared at him. Imagine someone walking into a gym, never having lifted a weight, and asking for the biggest dumbbells. Rafael is nortez. And then getting mad the dumbbells are heavy. Exactly, I said. He shook his head. Man, life is wild. I leaned against the wall for a second, just letting the moment settle. You know what's wild? 2 years ago, I thought losing her was the end. Raphael nodded, serious now. And it was the beginning, I said. He lifted his granola bar like a toast. To beginnings. I gave a small smile. To beginnings. That night, after work, I did normal things. That's what growth looks like. Boring, steady, unglamorous. I stopped by the supermarket. I grabbed chicken, rice, vegetables. I picked up coffee because office life runs on it like a car runs on gas. At the checkout, the cashier, a teenager with tired eyes, scanned my items and said, you want a bag? I looked at the pile. Yeah, unless you want me to juggle groceries in the parking lot. He cracked a smile. Fair. I walked out to my car and loaded the bags in the trunk. And there was my phone buzzing again. A number I hadn't saved anymore, but I recognized anyway. Madison. I stared at it for a second, thumb hovering. I didn't answer. It rang out. Then a message popped up. Can we talk? I stared at the screen, and it was weird. Not because I still felt pulled toward her, That part was gone. It was weird because 2 years ago, a text from her could have decided my entire mood for a week. Now it was just a notification. I got in the car, drove home, and cooked dinner. Later, I sat on my couch. New couch, no dents, no ghosts, and Mike called. So, he said, "You're not going to believe what I heard." I laughed. If this is about my ex slamming a door, I already know. Mike made it sound like a cough laugh. "Oh my God. It's true. It's true," I said. Mike whistled. "Life really lined that one up." "Life lined it up," I said. "I just showed up." Mike's voice turned curious. "How'd she look?" "Like she expected the universe to apologize," I said. Mike laughed. "And how'd you act?" I thought for a second. Like my job mattered more than my history. Mike went quiet for a beat. "That's good. That's really good." "Yeah," I said. "It felt clean." Mike exhaled. "Remember when you used to sit in your car outside your apartment because you didn't want to go in?" I swallowed. Not emotional, just aware. "Yeah. You're not that guy anymore," Mike said. "No," I said. "I'm not." My phone buzzed again. Another message. "I didn't expect it to be you. I didn't expect you to be like this." I stared at it. I could have typed a lot of things. I could have typed something sharp, something clever, something that would make her feel small. But I didn't want that. Not because I'm some saint. Because I'm tired. I'm done giving her free space in my head. So I typed back. I offered what I could professionally. "If you want to work, start somewhere. Take care." I hit send. A few minutes later, 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, "You really don't care anymore." I stared at that sentence for a second and almost laughed, not out of cruelty, out of disbelief. Because she said it like caring was something she owned, like it was her currency, like I was supposed to beg for it again. I replied, "I care about my life. That's why I'm careful with who I let in it. No drama. No lecture. Just truth." She didn't reply after that. A week went by. Then another. Tanya stopped by my office one afternoon with a folder. "Quick question," she said. Madison Hart emailed asking if there are other openings. I leaned back in my chair. "Other than entry level?" Tanya nodded. "She wants something more suitable." I gave a slow exhale. "No." Tanya's eyes softened slightly. "You want me to respond?" "Tell her the same thing," I said. "We hire based on experience and fit. The entry role is still the only option." Tanya nodded. "Done." After she left, Raphael stuck his head in my doorway. "You look like you just watched someone try to return a used toaster." I laughed once. "That's not far off." He walked in and sat in the chair across from me. "You know what I keep thinking?" "What?" I asked. Raphael shrugged. "Some people don't understand starting. They only understand arriving." I nodded. "She wanted to arrive. She didn't want to show up." Raphael pointed at me. "And you did." I looked out the window at the parking lot, at the regular people moving through regular life. "Yeah." Raphael stood up. "Good. Keep it that way." That's the thing nobody tells you when you're in the middle of a breakup that feels like it's eating your future. The point isn't to win. The point isn't to make the other person suffer. The point is to stop building your life around someone who treats your effort like it's an inconvenience. Madison learned her lesson the hard way, not because I set out to teach it, but because life doesn't care about what you think you deserve. She walked into my company thinking she could step over the messy part and land right in comfort. Instead, she met the part she never respected, the beginning. And me? I finally understood something that should have been obvious the whole time. If someone only wants you when you're already there, they don't want you. They want the view. So yeah, my ex applied for a job in my company. She expected the universe to hand her a shortcut. I handed her a starting line. She slammed the door, and I went back to work.